Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now today we have got some club kits. We've got the small die of the month. It's called Spring Haul and it is awesome. We've got a wheelbarrow and just a whole bunch of goodness packed inside of it. We've got a bunch of floral elements. We've got a bunny and a chick, and we've got some eggs and some carrots and just all kinds of really, really fun spring elements. Spring Haul is what it's called. And we're going to be working with it. We're also going to work with the embossing folder of the month that is called Spring Stripes, and it is really pretty. It really looks like a leafy pattern, actually, I kind of think. And it's just real pretty. I've got this green speckled cardstock, and I have already prepared all of my die cut pieces, and I've got my panels for my card ready to go. So we are just going to get to assembling all these little bits and pieces, and then we'll get our card together. So we've got a lot of gluing and a lot of assembly to do. So I'm going to bring in this little mat so I can glue on it, and we're just going to get started with our gluing. I just picked this little mat up at the Dollar Tree, and you're going to need your tweezers. We're going to need our pick and our pickup and our poke tool, and we're going to need our fine nozzle glue tip for all this because we've got little bits and pieces. I'm bringing in that paper towel because it seems like the nozzle of my glue gets gummy, and so I have to clean it up periodically. So I'm going to get the handle here, and I will tell you this is a great set to dig into those scraps. I mean, just those little bits and pieces that you have, cardstock that you've got left over, I would recommend using those. And I'm using cardstock from Spellbinders. You can see I didn't get that till piece fully cut out because I was using a scrap, but it doesn't matter. I'm using this calls for confetti speckled for the wheelbarrow, and then the background piece. We're going to use that green speckled for the background, and the wheelbarrow is a light blue speckled. And we are using that. And anyway, so I just grabbed the bin that I just throw all the little bits and pieces of Spellbinders cardstock in, and I just used just all kinds of little teeny tiny pieces of cardstock and really tried to work through that scrap that I have and kind of dwindle it down because I use Spellbinders cardstock, and it is a little bit more on the costly side, and so I try to get as much out of it as I possibly can. So I've got a little piece of trim in this till. I'm doing the same color as I did the handle on my wheelbarrow, and it's just going to kind of lay on here like this. So I'm just going to put some glue on there and get it attached. And I will tell you, my wheelbarrow is not near as pretty as this. We have got a big, ugly, red wheelbarrow, but it serves its purpose, and we do use it. So I've got the wheel here, and it's two pieces, and you've got them embossed. And I will tell you, I'm putting some glue on here, and I'm gluing this. This is wrong. Don't do what I do. You'll see in the end, I'll pull it off, and then I'll redo it. The little round piece that's on the frame of the wheelbarrow actually goes on the front, and I will realize it here in a minute because I'm like, why don't they have a little decorative piece for the center of that? And then I'm like, I know why. I've laid it down on there wrong. So very carefully going to pull it apart. I'm going to bring in my glue eraser and erase the glue off of there, and then we'll put a little dab of glue on the wheel, and we will attach it the appropriate way. And I'm just going to get laid down on there. Now you have that extra little center piece for the wheel, and it looks like it should. So it's very pretty. Now we're going to bring in all of the elements for the wheelbarrow, and I mean there are a lot. This is, I guess, a little chicken, and it's super cute. You've got some little feet, some little head feathers, some wings, and a little piece to back the eyes. Here's a little bit of hair. I was trying to get it out of my little Dollar Tree tray there. And just going to get them assembled. I actually had bits and pieces from other projects in all of my little trays. When I sat down, I thought, I need a tray to work with to die cut all this out. And so I grabbed this blue tray, and there was some Simon Hurley product in there from the cat and the bear or koala bear. And I had enough pieces in there that I sat down and assembled a cat, a koala bear, and a regular bear. And that's because I was going to just pitch it. And I'm like, I was kind of looking at the pieces and I thought, I think I've got all the pieces to do this. So I actually assembled 3 of those and just laid them aside for a future card, so that I could clear this tray out and put all my bits and pieces in it. So I guess I had a pretty good crafty session because I put 3 of those little characters together before I started doing this. So this here is the little bunny, and I've got the bunny's ears, and then I've got the inserts for the ears, and then the backer piece for the face. And I've got just a real pale pink. I think this is chiffon from Spellbinders. And I'm going to clean that tip because we've just got some very fine pieces, and I want my glue to come out very nicely. And we're just going to pick up those little backer pieces for the ears so that we'll just have a little bit of pink shining between there. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And then we're just going to lay the little bunny face down on the little chiffon, and we'll have a little pink showing behind there, and I think it's super cute. Now we have got a bunny that has been hanging out in our backyard, and we've got all these little trails in the snow where the bunny's been just hopping along the backyard in the snow. And I've caught glimpses of the bunny a couple times, and my husband has as well, and he's just hanging out in our backyard for the winter season, I guess. So this is one of the Easter eggs, and there's a really fine detail in there. There's actually a little bunny face that I just popped out of the center of this, and I'm going to just layer it up on a darker pink, and we've got a little colored Easter egg for our wheelbarrow. And this barrow is going to be just chock full of all kinds of cuteness. I've also got a purple one, and I think the purple one, I think, is the one that had the flower in the center. And I'm just getting all those bits out of the way. And you could actually use that little flower piece if you wanted to that pops out. I didn't choose to use it, but I did keep it thinking I might use it, but I didn't wind up using it. So I'm just going to layer this up. And again, these are just scraps. I was just trying to pick some soft, springy colors, but also use up the scraps that I had in my bin for these. And then we're going to do a little blue egg. And this just has a bunch of little speckly pieces that were popping out. And so you need your tool for that. I will tell you, my Spellbinders 2-in-1 tool that has the brush on it, it broke some time ago, and it is the perfect tool for this thing. But I will mention, I did put in a big order earlier this week, and I should have it coming. I've got the 2-in-1 tool coming back in. I had the brown one, but I'm getting the white one this time. And I also ordered plates for my Scout, and I ordered plates for my Platinum 6, and a bunch of cardstock. Can't think. I think that's about it. I can't think if there's anything else I ordered, but I should have a big order coming in. Now we've got our carrots. I did die cut out 3 of them, and then 3 of their little greenery, the little stems or whatever that go on the carrots. And I did it in peridot and then also in fern. And for my leaves, those were the 2 colors I used to use for my greenery. Peridot is the lighter and fern is the darker color. And I just kind of mixed and matched because I wanted a variety of light and dark colors. Now, tonight is actually, it's Sunday night, and I got a message from Jay saying he was running behind on his live, and I was actually supposed to keep the boys, and so I told Jay I wasn't going to go live because I was going to have the boys, and then I called because they weren't arriving at the time that I thought they were going to arrive, and I found out my daughter was sick, so they were not winding up going out, so I didn't wind up having the boys, and I thought, well, I'd already said I wasn't going live, and it is Super Bowl Sunday, and I thought it might be nice to spend some time watching the Super Bowl with my husband. So I'm going to forgo the live. Well, it'll be actually last night's live because this is going to air tomorrow. And then for Monday night's live, normally I'm not running a pre-recorded video on Monday because Daria and I are going live on Monday night, but she is out celebrating her birthday that's coming up this week. And she was going to be pressed for time, and I said, let's just skip our live. So I went ahead and pre-recorded this so that this could run on Monday, and we'll have some video footage since we're not going to have a live. So I am just getting all of the tulips laid down here on their stems, and we've got a dark purple, a light purple, and a kind of a purpley pink that we're going to use. And I think it'll be really pretty. So we're just going to get them all glued up and get them laid down on their stems. And we'll just begin putting all of our greenery and all of our bits and pieces together. Okay, I just had to pause for a minute. My phone was giving me a little warning that it was about to die, and I didn't want to lose my voiceover. So I paused real quick, saved it, ran and got the cord, and I've got it charging, so we're good to go. Now we've got, I think we have all of our pieces glued up that needs to be glued up. I'm moving them to a spot on this mat that doesn't have glue all over it so that I can work with it. And we're just going to get all of our little greenery pieces laid in here, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to assemble it. And we have got a lot. I don't think I've ever clustered this much stuff together, and I kind of get creative on how I'm going to do it. So anyway, these are like the leaves that would go with the tulips. And I was debating on tucking the stem behind the leaves or on top of the leaves. And with the peridot and the fern, I kind of like the contrast of the stems on top of the leaves. So I just decided to do that. And so that's what I'm going to do, is just put some glue on the back of the stems and just attach them to the tulip leaves and just get them on there like that. I just liked seeing that contrast. And of course, we're going to have lots of things that we're going to layer in front of them anyway, so it's probably not going to matter, but we're just going to get them all positioned on there. And honestly, you could take, different elements from this set and create all different types of cards, because you've got, lots of fun elements. You've got the Easter eggs, the chicken and the bunny, and then you've got the tulips. I mean, you could just make a variety of different things. You can just kind of let your mind run wild with different ways that you could create with the different elements that are in here. The other thing that would be super fun is to bring in some of those Simon Hurley bunnies that I ran the other day and add them to it as well. That would be a fun element to bring in, like the full-size bunny with these pieces as well. That would be fun. So I'm just kind of coordinating, getting all my pieces positioned, because I'm going to build my cluster right here at the top, and I'm just going to start pulling in and just layering these down. I'm going to try and mix and match the two different greens so that we don't have like a whole bunch of dark all together. We're just kind of spread it apart and just distribute the color throughout. And I'm just going to just start building this cluster. And just getting all my little pieces spread around. And then I just keep testing it with my wheelbarrow to make sure I've got it to where everything can be tucked into our wheelbarrow, because we don't want to get it too full. And I'm going to spread my tulips around and just get them all tucked in nice and neat. And we're starting to get a really nice cluster coming together. And I've got a few more pieces, and I'm going to use them all, I think. Actually, I'll reserve a couple, and then I'll use them on the inside of the card when we get finished. So I'm just going to keep tucking, and it's looking good and very full. Now we've got all these other elements that we need to bring in to go along with it. We've got our eggs and our bunny and our carrots and our chicken. And I'm like, how am I going to get all this fit in here? So I'm just going to start kind of layering and see what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, that's where I want my bunny. So I'm going to get my bunny laid down on there, and then I'll get my wheelbarrow up there, and I'm going to make sure, is everything going to fit on there? So I'll just kind of keep checking things as I go along. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get all this clustered on there? And then I decide, let's just flip the wheelbarrow over and start gluing the pieces that we want on the front on the wheelbarrow. And then we can just pick up the leaves and the flowers afterward. We can just pick them up that way. So I'm thinking the chick he's got those little feet, and I don't want to hide the feet. So he's going to be outside of the wheelbarrow so that we can see those cute little feet. And then I'm just going to kind of position my little carrots, figure out how I want them. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and flip my wheelbarrow over and then position the carrots on the back of the wheelbarrow is how I'm going to do it. I'm still just trying to position everything how I want it. And I love all the variety of different colors. You know, we've got orange and green and pink and purple, and just have some really fun colors. So I'm thinking I definitely want to get at least 1 or 2 of these Easter eggs in this barrel if we can. And so I'm just going to put some glue on there and kind of tuck it in near the bunny. And I kind of struggle getting it to glue, and it's not wanting to stick. And so I'm just going to add a whole bunch more glue and try and get it to press. And it is not wanting to stick. So I'll just keep going. I'm going to get this, get another egg in there. I think I decided to do the blue, and then I reserve the pink egg for the inside of the card. I didn't want to waste any of these pieces that I've assembled. Plus, you know, I just had that tray full of bits and pieces from my last video or from another video that I had not used. So I figured let's just use them all on here. So I'm going to get some glue on here, and I'm going to start positioning the carrots because I want them, you know, to be able to be seen fairly well. And then we'll have all of the florals and the greenery in the background of that. So we'll just add these little carrots. And I'm still in my mind. I was thinking about, you know, could you use the press and sew? But that's if you're going to lay something on top of something. So not using that. So I'm just going to get my carrot where I want it and give it a good pinch. And I'm going to position all my floral bits. And then I decide, you know, that I could use some tape or some foam tape or something like that to pick up all of these little elements. And so that's what I'm going to do. Once I get them how I want it, I'm going to grab a piece of foam and stick it on the back of there and then just pick up all of those pieces with the foam and just make it kind of easy. And so I'm going to get all that foam down there, and I tried to press to where I, you know, got a hold of most of it. And I've got a couple pieces that moved a little bit, but I'm going to pick it up and then I'll just flip it over and kind of rearrange those pieces that that moved and kind of created a gap for me. And I'll just move them over and just kind of fill it in. And I think it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to keep moving them around and get them like I want them. I wind up just pulling them off and then moving them. And then that worked out really well for me. I'm going to get some glue on there, give it a good press. Keep positioning. And then I'm going to tuck in another little green element. This is the peridot cardstock, and just kind of tuck it in and add some green to it. And then we've got all these little bits and pieces. So now I'm pretty happy with how it is coming together. And I'm going to go ahead and get my card elements and get it assembled. And we'll just bring in our bits and pieces there. And we can fill in. I guess I didn't use all of my leaves, but I will use most of them. So this is the speckled pattern paper that I brought in, and I've embossed it, and we're going to get it laid down on there. So we've got some great texture. And we're going to use the bell and bow scalloped panel to lay our scene on. And it just makes a real pretty scalloped edge there. I'm still going to mess with that leaf. It's still not where I want it. And so I'm going to move it and give it a pinch. We'll go ahead and get this panel laid down on here, and then we're going to get our wheelbarrow on here. And it really fills up the A2 size card base. And once I get it laid down on there, I decide I don't want to put the sentiment on the outside of the card. So I'm just going to bring in some more foam tape. Since I laid that piece of foam tape on there, I'm going to need some more at the bottom of it. I'm going to need some on the wheel and the handle. So we'll just get some more foam tape on there, and this will help level it all off and help it to stick. I'm not even going to glue my florals and stuff down. I'm going to kind of let them sit raised, just so that we have some dimension. I think it looks pretty nice. Now, I'll have to be careful putting it into an envelope because you have the risk of kind of bending your flowers or whatever, but I like the way it looks, just kind of free-flowing on there. I'm trying to get this teeny little piece that I can put on the handle so that I can get it pressed down. And then we'll remove the backer pieces. And I've already got that one off there, and I'm trying to pull it, and then I'm just going to tuck some glue across all of these different leaves so nothing slips or falls out, and just trying to touch each one of them with a little bit of glue. And then we'll get it laid down on our card base. And it sure is pretty. Now, I bent the handle there, but I was able to move it back up and tuck it down because I've got that foam on there. And like I said, I did not want to cover up the legs on my little chickadee. And so I'm just going to add it down there at the bottom. And I thought about using this egg here, and I was like, do I want this? I'm like, no, I'm not going to add it here. And then I decide that I'm going to bring it with a couple of leaves and our sentiment and put it on the inside of the card. So I did take the Happy Easter sentiment from the Hurley set, and I used some more of the speckled cardstock and some more of the till and just layered it up. We're going to use this for our sentiment on the inside of our card. And I'm going to try and get it lined up. I feel like it's moving around on me. And then we're going to use one of the fern leaves and then one of the peridot leaves. There I was like, did it move? Try to straighten it up. And we're just going to kind of cluster a couple leaves together and then use our little pink egg. And I just think it'll be, you know, some extra interest on the inside of the card. Just give it a good press and then lay our little egg down on the inside. I think it's super cute. I thought I had a little glue on there, but I forgot that that paper is speckled, and that's what I was seeing. So I think it turned out really pretty. It was a fun card, a fun set, lots of bits and pieces. Very springy. So thanks for watching. I hope you like it. If you do, consider hitting the like button. Have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.